Huey as a representation of the modern-day Black Panther figure. Right from the beginning of the episode, we can see Huey as a representation of a modern-day Black Panther because he even dreams about telling white people the truth about their racism and having conversations in order to enact change. The Boondocks brings us into a mix of a racial divide. In the first scene of the episode, Huey's granddad wakes him up from a dream of him telling white people things that caused them to riot at an upscale party. He states that Jesus was black and that the government was lying about 9/11 to cause a reaction from the crowd. His granddad, Robert Freeman, wakes him up and Huey says he was only telling the white people the truth, but his granddad tells him never to tell white folks the truth. The Black Panthers were just telling the truth about the racism that they were facing and wanted to enact change. Huey wanted to tell white people the truth so bad that he had a reoccurring dream. Huey in the next scene even gets into a yelling match with Robert about cheese and how you can't stop the white supremacist powers with cheese. Another example is Huey's name, which is the same name as the founder of the Black Panthers. With all these subtle hints such as Huey's and Robert Freeman's names, which was hidden undertones of racism being depicted in the show. We see Huey with what seems to be a pellet gun trying to shoot the rich white man that came to see Robert. This is like the picture of Malcolm X holding a gun. This depicts violence, which the Black Panthers are known to do at occasions. They are known to carry arms, and they call for all blacks to carry arms, and this relates to Huey and his weapon. The Black Panthers are known for being a militant group that embodies black power, and Huey seems to be trying to portray that image. Huey continues to represent a modern-day Black Panther by expressing to his granddad that he doesn't want to go to the garden party because he doesn't sip tea with the enemy. Robert wants to meet new white friends, and yet his grandson doesn't, because he is a modern-day Black Panther figure that is all about black power. Huey even gets into a discussion about how people claim to take credit for helping with the Black Panther movement, and his grandfather seems to be one of them. As we see Robert Freeman in a flashback missing out on a Black Panther protest because he was getting ready, and it seems that he was always trying to please white people, even in the past. Not like the real Black Panthers that gathered at San Francisco City Hall in 1966 to protest arrests. On the way to the party, we can see Huey with his arms crossed and anger written all over his face because he doesn't want to associate with white people, but yet he is forced to go to an upscale white party. Now we see Huey at the garden party talking to a priest about how Jesus is not white when he is asked, "Have you ever seen the Passion of Christ?" The priest then tells him he speaks so well, and Huey isn't getting the reaction he wanted like his dream. In another scene, we see Huey talking to a group of white adults with anger on his face, explaining why Ronald Reagan is the devil, and yet they all just smile and clap. This party full of white people seems like a great place for Huey, a modern-day Black Panther, to explain his views, but yet again, they just smile and clap and do not take him seriously. Even though he's talking about serious issues, which can be the same for the Black Panthers when they were discussing black rights. At that time, black rights were not serious because racism was seen as normal at that time. Huey spends the party looking to talk to white people about their mistakes, just as the Black Panthers would go to the streets and demand change, even at the risk of their own safety. We can see throughout the first episode how Huey represents a modern-day Black Panther figure with his demeanor and his stance on black power. He wants to have a real conversation with white people about meaningful issues, but he doesn't get the reaction that he wants. They think of him as a cute, harmless kid and pay him no mind. He wants his dream to come through of them rioting with violence, but instead he gets smiles and claps. Huey is a modern-day Black Panther figure from the first scene to the last, and he embodies what is known as black power from the core. Unlike his grandfather, Huey doesn't want to sip tea with the enemy, but he rather point out their mistakes and, if necessary, take up arms and go to the streets.